We appreciate you taking your time to come out and hear about the city of Peachtree Corners. In terms of the way we can do the meeting, it's really best to hold your questions till the end, because as sure as you ask it, probably in just a couple of minutes, I've done this a lot of times, and I've tried to build the answers to the questions in, so I bet I cover it. But, you know, there's always one or two in each time where I go, that's a good question, and we have to go through it. So if you hold them to the end, I'll be glad to cover. Stay as late as anybody wants to cover our questions. 4 things we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about why should we become a city? Why is doing nothing not an option? Because when I talk to people about this, what they do is they look at me and go, yeah, I hear you say, but you know, Mike, really there's no problem over here where we are. Why do we have to do anything? Why can't we do nothing? That's a good question. We'll talk about why doing nothing is not an option. And then we'll talk about what is the solution. We believe a limited service city is the solution. And last, once we go through it and we talk about the kind of city it is, the cost of it, then I will say this. Of all the times to ask you folks, let's have a city with what's going on in Washington and the debt cap and everybody arguing, what a terrible time to do that. Trust in government has never been lower. So the last thing I want to cover tonight is how can citizens be confident that you can control a city, that it won't come like our federal government, or the city of Atlanta, or any of those other cities where they have a lot of debt and they get into trouble and have to start raising your taxes. What controls do we have in place? Okay? Fair enough? And any questions anybody wants to ask? First question, why should we become a city? And I will say, after talking to a lot of people about this, it's one phrase, self-determination. And it's basically, look around you. We're surrounded by cities or counties. People in Norcross, Duluth, Berkeley Lake, they're making decisions. The leadership of those cities are making decisions to improve property values and the quality of life of all those citizens. And I'd argue that they're doing a much better job of it than we are. Look at how many of you have not been to downtown Norcross and seen the improvements they've made, or downtown Duluth, or anywhere. Because they're making decisions that are in the best interest of their citizens. So self-determination. And we're going to come back to that a couple times during our talk, but I want you to keep in mind that's what this is all about. Because we're the biggest landmass area in this whole part of the county. If you look at that map, that's going to be the biggest city in population, landmass in Gwinnett County, 38,000 people. Far bigger than any city around us. Biggest city in the county, as I said. So, but those decisions are being made, decisions about all sorts of things, to do with what's in the best interest of their citizens. What kind of decisions? Well, that segues right into why doing nothing's not an option. Because those decisions that they're making, they may be in those cities' best interest, but they're not in our best interest. And what I'm talking about here is, back in 2009, good folks in Norcross attempted to annex all the way from the split down there where Publix and the Target is, all the way up, including Tech Park, the hotels, clear up to Norcross High School. Look at that huge triangle there. That's very high property tax value, very high value property. And when we talked to them about it, their answer was very straightforward. It's the taxes. I mean, they wanted the taxes. We'll talk about this a couple times tonight, but it used to mean saying the words millage rate, because Gwinnett County, your county taxes are roughly 13 mills, and that's .001 is 1 mil. So just kind of mentally do the math there. But their millage rate is 6.4 mils. Our city's going to be up to 1 mil. That's limited by charter, but we'll talk about that a little more later. And the folks in Tech Park and the folks in the hotel said, we don't want to be in Norcross. It's an expensive city to be in. And we realized there that we had to stop that, because the main reason you don't want someone annexing property so close to you is you lose control of it. You lose zoning control of that property. Everybody just visualize right now going out of your house, looking across the street at your neighbor, at his house, and there he is. He shut down his house, and he's got a body shop going there. 367, 24 hours a day, 365 days, he's running a body shop, jackhammers, whatever. And you go over and say, whoa, 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 you can't do this. I'll call the county commissioner, call the zoning people, and they go, see that sign? I'm in a different city. I'm in a different legal entity. We have different rules. That's kind of an exaggeration, but you get the point. If the land is annexed, the zoning control goes. I mean, your county commissioner would have no influence on that. It would be in another city. And the reason Norcross and Berkeley Lake and Duluth, because they're all attempting right now to annex parts of Peachtree Corners, is because our property values are higher than theirs. Average property values in Peachtree Corners, year-to-date July, roughly $300,000, $350,000 for a home. Norcross average sales value, same period, $98,000. It's just a fact. So the decisions that are being made by those cities to do what's in the best interest of their citizens, that's not in our best interest. So who should make those decisions? Our county commissioner. That's right. Everything's been fine. Our county commissioner's always taking care of us. The last 4 county commissioners have been for Peachtree Corners. Mike, what are you worried about? The 5th one. You can't guarantee that your county commissioner, that's 1 vote out of 5 out in Lawrenceville. And everybody knows the county is concerned right now with one thing, and that is their budget. And she's a wonderful person, Lynette Howell. But you can't count on her or the county to take care of you. Self-determination. We should make those decisions ourselves. Well, Mike, you know, UPCCA has always taken care of us. Since 1993, UPCCA has been a watchdog group that has been working behind the scenes and sometimes, when necessary, in front of the scenes to take care of Peachtree Corners, this area. I mean, and people that live in this area, we've talked to you about any kind of a zoning thing that's been over here, it's been a problem. UPCCA's been there. The dilemma is, well, hold on a second. How many of you mow your grass twice a year? Is that okay? Right. Okay, you see where the joke's going. Peachtree Parkway, we adopted it a couple of years back, 7 years ago. And UPCCA, private volunteers, raised over $30,000 a year to keep that mowed and maintained, because that's kind of the high traffic area between 285 and 400. That's real important, big state highway. The state would mow it twice a year, and it would look terrible. And it's right there where Tech Park is. And Tech Park partnered with us and everybody else, and we raise funds, and we do it. And we burn out volunteers quite regularly. How many of you would like to, in addition to your day jobs, raise $30,000 a year? It's not sustainable. Now, I can tell you, because I'm the president of UPCCA, we can't compete against a city that's trying to annex our property. I got a phone call this morning at work saying, hey, this so-and-so and so-and-so, and this business guy says that he's being asked by this city to be annexed in there, and they're telling stories about Peachtree Corners. And you know, we all have jobs. Doing nothing is not an option. Because once that property base is gone, once someone else controls that property, it's gone. And the risk of what may be put there, and the other point is, we're a 40-plus-year-old community. Started in 1960. Well, a lot of you folks were telling me you've lived here a lot longer. I'm just dating it from where Peachtree Corners, the name, started with what Paul Duke did back in 1968. The gentleman was telling me he's lived here longer than that. Yeah, a lot of people have. And the point is, that name value, Peachtree Corners, it has real value. And I gave you examples a moment ago about the property value difference between Norcross and Peachtree Corners. It's very real. Give you a real-life, recent example of it. But my point is, by not having that to apply to all of our property values, that name value just slowly diminishes over time if you don't use it, if you don't promote it. And there's no one promoting it anymore. Real-life example. How many of you got a chance to go to the Peachtree Corners Festival or heard about it? It was in June of this year. Anybody over here? It was a very, very successful event. It was held over there, you know where, oh gosh.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. You know where Chick-fil-A is on 141? Right in that area, back in there. And it was the first time festival for